father-in-law was alive, he called this place his paradise. And oh, yes, do I agree. As beautiful as it is, and as an amazing as the view is, it came with its own challenges. The garden was a nightmare, sorry to say, Helmut. But the house is situated on the top of a hill, which is like 1,070 meters high, over even, and it was surrounded by trees. The neighbors told me whenever he went to the forest for a walk, he dug out a small tree and he came to plant it. So this house was just surrounded by trees. And as beautiful as it was, it just made it look so busy, and it was just everything was too difficult. He started cutting some of the trees himself when he saw that they were growing bigger and bigger, and he left the tree stumps, and that made mowing a nightmare. And it is also like uneven, the compound, so you have a lot of dips and then up. Mowing was just too difficult, and as much as I was always dreaming to have my own little garden and all that stuff, it made me start missing my apartment and how easy I had it with all my plants, because I've always been a plant lover. Since my husband couldn't help me anymore, I decided to take matters into my own hands. And the little flower bed that he had there, which looked like this, I decided to do some edging so that I could enjoy it for that spring summer, because my husband he had already suffered the stroke, so he was out of the hospital and in a rehabilitation center. And since we cut a lot of trees, I decided to just, without spending any money, I used the logs, some of the logs, and I did a log edging around that flower bed. And I was really happy with that. And it kept me also very busy because, yeah, I didn't have to think too much and worry too much about the whole situation that we were in. And as much as I loved it, a few months later, a neighbor was getting rid of a lot of bricks. And so I decided to take them for free. And I used that to edge around the flower bed, took out all the wood logs, because I was also seeing that a lot of those snails, slugs, I think they call them here in Austria, we call them Nackschnecke. They were hiding underneath the logs. So this was a good one. I used it to edge the whole flower bed and also around his rose that he loved so much. And I enjoyed this the whole of spring summer 2024. And yes, plus it kept me busy. That was good. So, but then still mowing was a challenge. I broke my lawnmower that I bought after using it 4 times. On the fourth time, it broke. So 2025, I told my husband, whatever it takes, I'm going to level this compound. If it is the only thing I do, and I would not, because Austrians, they love like their vacation, they have to go somewhere. To my husband, we're not going anywhere, I'm not going to Africa, nothing. I'm just going to invest that money and then level this yard, because of course the gardening means so much to me. So I spoke with a contractor and he told me yes, they can come and do the digging. He came, I told him what I wanted. I told him that I wanted to terrace it a little bit and 2 steps if it's possible. He told me it is too steep, so he will see what we can do. Anyway, his digger guy that he sent was incredible. In a week, the whole leveling was done and the terracing was done. And this was me filming. My neighbor told me, "Hey, Vesta, have you taken pictures of your yard before the big change?" And I said no. So then I ran and I went to get my camera and then I started filming very rashly. So I'm sorry for all the crappy shaking and non-stable movements. But anyway, I had a lot of prepping to do. I dug out most of the plants that I could rescue and put them in different pots. So the whole place was a mess the whole time. And the bigger plants like the hibiscus and the rose, I was afraid of killing them. So I made the digger guy use his big fork to really dig them out very deeply from the roots. And yes, I saved those two. The rose might not bloom this year, but I hope it didn't die. It is recovering. Maybe the next time I film a video, I will show how it looks now. But anyway, in a week, this job was done, and the leveling and the terracing cost 6,000 euro. After a week, this is what it looked like. He found some rocks, so he used that to do the stairs.
Bricks in this line like this.
Son and I, we started doing the edging of where we were going to put flowers, so creating the flower bed. And I just started putting the bricks around it, but this is just temporary. In the future, I plan on like digging a little trench and then laying some very tiny gravel at the bottom and then setting them on top of that. So that is a project that I have coming, and yeah, it took I think 2.5 days to do the whole edging, and I was very happy with it. We had to do it quite fast because the contractor told me that I cannot wait too long before I start seeding the grass seeds, because once it rained on the soil, it was going to be too difficult to use a rake to soften the top for the seeds to grow. So we had to do everything kind of in a rush because it was supposed to start raining that week. So yeah, this kept me busy. I was dedicating more time when I was off from work, and some days when I came from work and I wasn't too tired, I spent like an hour or two also putting some of the bricks there, because I ended up doing it around the whole edge of the compound, and you'll see it at the end. By the way, I use my water hose to lay down the line, and then I just put the bricks alongside it. The first day we finished, my son and I, we finished the side where I share with my neighbor and then in front of the patio. So we were still left with this whole front line here, and that we did the next day. And the exciting part, I had also started buying some plants, because my plan was I was just going to do the terracing with just planting like floor covering plants, because I have neighbors here that have very, very fancy walls. They have rocks stacked to form a wall. They have also terraced, and I asked around. I even got an estimation for the rock walls with terracing. They were asking for 45,000 euros for just a normal wall made out of just a blocks wall. They were asking for between 25 to 30,000 euro, and that was like all way out of my budget. So there was no way I was going to spend that much money to do any kind of walling. Plus, I won't even enjoy the wall. To be just people passing down the street that will see the wall. So I didn't see any point in it. That is why I decided to go this way. So after doing all the edging with the brick, the next day, I think that was the third day, we started raking. There was so many little rocks. Even though he passed it through a sieve, I have no idea where all the rocks came from, very tiny. We still weren't able to rake them all. And all the rakes, just one is mine, the one that my son is holding. The rest I just borrowed from my neighbors. And my daughter's best friend had come from the city, Vienna, where we lived before, to come and spend a week with her. So that was good because she helped, and we were able to finish this job in one day. The whole raking, they were raking, and I was collecting this little stones that they were gathering together I told both of them to be spreading the seeds, and I ended up getting upset and making them stop because they were goofing off, just spreading it and making them go like in the flower bed and stuff. But anyway, yeah, I'm still appreciative of their help though.
I don't know. Out there.
So on the 14th of April, the digging was done. On the 7th of April was when he began, and it took him a week. On the 14th of April was when we spreaded the grass seeds, and we were so lucky. Okay, on the 14th, I did have to spray them a little bit with water, and then from the 15th, it rained almost every single day. And then I started freaking out because I noticed that the rainwater was sitting in a lot of portions. So I was like, oh no, the grasses are going to be just drenched in water and those spots will not grow. But yeah, that happened. So this was me. Every day I was looking very closely to see if they were peeking out yet, but they weren't. And in the meantime, I made a mistake. I was walking in the middle there. You will see that that place looks a mess. But I had to start planting all the plants, the ones that I had dug out, the old ones that I had dug out, and plus the new ones because I had invested so much money into it and I was afraid of them dying on me. I spent like roughly 4,000 euros on the plants and also the fleece. You will see later when I show you the downhill. But anyway, on this day it was raining, but I wanted to be outside and started planting. I spent like 4 hours out there planting. It was beautiful, very foggy and like a Halloween kind of atmosphere. And my neighbors really think I'm not normal because ever since I started this garden, I am out constantly. When I come from work, I spend 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm out there until it gets dark, just planting. And I'm surprised my spinal cord isn't broken because I started having a very severe lower back pain from all the bending that I was doing. No matter how careful I was, it didn't help. I just had too many plants to plant. And yes, it took a lot of, I don't know, energy out of me. But this was 12 days afterwards. Okay, So day 12, after seeding, then I started seeing a peak of the grasses. This is a close up. On the mountain up here, everything grows slowly. And this was the 27th already. So the 26th, that was the 14th, the 12th day, and the 27th was the 13th day, and just that one day difference, it just made a difference. The grass were more visible. But anyway, then I started planting on the slope, and this is what I mean. The fleece, I didn't want it, but the contractor said that I need it. If not, the soil will slide when it rains. So all in all, this project cost me 10,000 euros. And this was I think, the first week that we moved into the house. We moved in on the 1st of December 2023, so towards the end of the year. And yes, you can see the difference. His vegetable bed is gone. This place looks different. Again, I filmed this with my phone. I didn't know that I was going to put this public. So yes, very, very proud of what we have accomplished and with the amount of money we have spent. And as you can see, I didn't do everything at once. I started working with what I had and gradually to the way that I want it and the way that I am in love with it. I'm going to take you around now to see everything. There is still a mess, but the bricks that are sitting there, I'm going to use to finish the edging down, and you can see all the bare spots from the grass, but I plan on reseeding those spots and raking it a little bit because the soil is a clayey soil up here. I mean, I'll show in a future video how I planted all the plants because I had to use a secret. If not, I would have needed so much soil or compost, which I wasn't willing to spend all the money on. So the bricks that you see there, I'm going to use to finish the edging of this downhill flower bed that I have created here. Here is more of my flux corner. I put my laundry spinning rack thing down here because originally I was going to put a fire bowl here, but then I noticed it won't be a good idea because my neighbor to my left, she has really big trees and I didn't want to cause any fire hazard, so I decided to put a laundry thing here instead and then the fire bowl up. So this is what we have accomplished, and again, for the price, I am more than happy. The neighbors, they like it. They always see me out there. I wake up early in the morning when I'm off, and the first thing I do is just walk around and say hello to all the plants that I have planted myself. Of course, you can hire a garden decorator or people to do the planting for you, but well, that all costs money, which I am not willing to spend. And so, plus I'm on a tight budget, so I'm creating something that I will love with the little that I have or with the amount that I can afford. So yes, this is me creating a little paradise on this planet Earth, just like my father-in-law had, but with a little bit of my own twist to it. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that you find it inspiring. If you did, and if you want, you can give it a like and subscribe, not because you have to, but because you can. And I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye.